collaborate together. So there is this part that is to be very strong integrated, because I think that there are differences on the use of substances between here and Trieste, but we also have a certain number of people using substances, and some of them have also mental health problems. So it is important to work together, and so to share experiences, to think together how to approach, how to intervene, but also with the person, and so not to just remove the person from the context, or how to say, fighting the two departments, the two services. So who has to take care? No, we have to take care together.
Into a personalized program.
Yes.
That's the key. So not just rely on structures, on facilities, but on programs delivered with the person for the person.
Marcel. My question is about your hi again. My question is about your relationship with Rome, with the Italian government, with Rome, with the Italian government, with because I'm from Brazil, and I work in the public mental health in Brazil, which, believe me, it's a lot more dark than what you see in LA. And I think the situations that we have in Brazil are very connected with the Brazilian culture. The situations that we have in LA are very connected with the LA culture. I wonder if I go to Rome, or if I go to Sicily, if I go to other place, I might not have the same Trieste experience, right? So what would be Richard start talking about, once you start a pilot somewhere, and once that becomes, we try to expand, then there's usually regulations that come, from federal government, and it has to do with funding. Do you guys have restrictions that come from Rome or from the Italian government? How is the services paid? And maybe more for you, how tied are you to the federal, how the tie is the Trieste department to Rome and the center government?
Yeah, I think this is a determinant question, because, well, what you can observe is that Trieste is certainly played the role of the island, because they were the pioneers. So they were that city was the city where we started up with abolishing asylums. From then on, it became always a sort of a model which was trying to push the system as far as we can with no asylums and with no restrictions. So the big issue and the question is about how far is Rome from Trieste, and what's the kind of dialogue? And well, the dialogue is very difficult, but there are also moments in which the dialogue is very strong and very deep. That depends on political issues, and exactly, that's imagined. It's very important, imagined. Of course, it depends on money. But as far as we can say, and as far as we can see here, the issue of money is not the cornerstone of the problem, because it's more like the way you try to use money and on what you decide to bet. That's the key here. Trieste is far from Rome, but is not too far. First of all, because they recognize in Trieste a pioneer, and secondly, because what you can do in Trieste is step by step conceived as something you can do also elsewhere. The important thing is that you have to bear in mind that there are differences. As you rightly said, Sicily is not Trieste, Rome is not Milan, just to name some Italian cities. That implies that there are huge differences even among cities in the same country. Try to guess how far the differences are here. So mainly I really think, studying this problem since a long time, that it's very important to have different solutions and not only one monolithic, strict, steep path to run on. Okay?
Go for it.
Yeah, first of all, let me say benvenuti, viva Italia, and
Viva l'Italia!
on behalf of NAMI, people of color, Espanol, Japanese, all of us are so happy that Dr. Sherin from the VMH Visionary team has brought this collaboration, this partnership together. I would like to explain to you one way of grassroots funding source that you might be doing already in your country or in your tourists is the NAMI walk. Maybe we can do an international NAMI walk here in LA County and with Italy. We'll be the first to take off with the globe. So that's one thing I will give you, Dr. Mazzani, and to all your colleagues. I also have some other sheets and information you probably got from my colleague Brittany and Dr. Stansberry, our president of NAMI. But for me, Ricardo Pulido from NAMI Español, who has two children with mental illness, one with bipolar and one with schizophrenia affected. They're both in full
who's
recovery.
translating for?
They have their ups and downs, but the good news is they're in college, they have boyfriend and girlfriend, they're living the life and they're doing well. So I want to tell you, thank you for supporting through our spirituality and through education and through DMH is the key. Collaboration with the community, the barrios, the colonias, the hotspots in our cities. Needs to hold hands together and get that skid row and clean it up, bring the people back into the neighborhoods and to their homes. So from my country to yours, whenever I meet a countryman, I always give them something special. So I would like to give you that, Our Lady, well respect, and I'd like to give you one, Doctor. I'll give you my paperwork and hope that the solutions through Dr. Sherin's office and the delegation, we can be one family. Okay. God bless you. Peace be with you.
Yes?
When you look at Los Angeles County and you look at our underrepresented and unrepresented, they are disproportionately minorities and people of color. So I'm curious, are you seeing that where you are? And if you don't, how do you see that translating to a place like LA County?
See.
You understand the question?
So I think that minorities are everywhere. There are different, how to say, intensity of minorities, probably in the sense that Trieste is a small city, more homogeneous as a population, but we also have we have minorities. For instance, in the center where I live Slovenian minority, because we are close to the border with Slovenia, and in the years there have been many conflicts, not maybe fighting conflicts, but what's the term for striscianti? Sneakily conflicts, and so there has been how to say more fear by the people from a Slovenian culture to take contact with community mental health centers where the professionals were mainly Italian people. So we have to change. We have to implement the number of Slovenian speaking and culture clinicians. Sorry, and so I think this is a central aspect, because your culture is made of minorities. I don't know the numbers, so I don't know how is the social configuration, but it is something that is seen on the streets, because in Skid Row the large majority of people were people of the Afro-American origins, and so that is important, is central to think projects that are, how to say, addressing also that issue. That is an important issue. So I don't know if I've been involved. It is possible, maybe because it's not something that is part of my culture, because in Italy we have a more homogeneous culture, but I think that you have this knowledge, and you have probably the possibility, you too, to say to us how to change things, taking care of this issue.
Can I respond to that? Because I'm coming from a more advantageous position in addressing that question. As I said earlier, most of my professional career was spent in Birmingham, England, which is a big city compared to Trieste. It has got a very large multicultural population. Something like 15 to 20% of the population in Birmingham is from either what we call African Caribbean background or South Asian background. There are major areas of the city which has got a majority of people of color. And what drove the system to change was the disaffection experienced by black people in our city. Because they were getting a very bad deal. Everybody was getting a bad deal. But their bad deal was much worse than other people's bad deal.
Yeah, say it.
The proportion of people of color who were being admitted forcibly, treated forcibly, was 5 to 10 times higher than that for native white people. The South Asian communities, similar to the Hispanic communities here, major mental health problems, never got anywhere near mental health services. It's a huge treatment gap. This drove the change. Some of the most active participants in our change were people from our black churches, from the black communities, the civil rights organizations, saying that this is not a mental health issue alone. This is a race issue.
Yes.
This is a basic human rights issue. So we got to be shoulder to shoulder on this. You might be a psychiatrist, but you also got to work with us, activists, people from the streets. You got to make it political, not in a party political sense, but in addressing the fundamental difficulties in our society. We had to connect with that. When we started this process, as I told you, I was already bitten by the bug of Trieste. People said, Trieste won't work here. Hardly any black people in Trieste. Look at it in Birmingham. We proved them wrong. Trieste will work everywhere because the virus of Trieste, the DNA of Trieste, that's very simple. Respect for people, a person-centered service, a service that is open round the clock, a service that welcomes you in, is hospitable, that will turn you away, a service that emphasizes the importance of relationships between mental health workers and the service users. That's fundamental, and absolutely no option for telling anyone, we don't want to see you. No discharge from service. We stay with you whether you like it or not on top of you, we walk with you. We know where you are, we are always available. The fact that you are in the prison, in the jail, doesn't matter. We shadow you, we follow you, we are always available. That's got nothing to do with the color of your skin. That's something to do with the fact that we are all humans, and this is a human service, and that from Trieste, I am absolutely certain will not only take root here, but also flourish here.
Yeah.